Have you ever wondered what it would take to survive not just one extinction event, but all of them? Right now, somewhere beneath the ocean's surface, a creature is swimming that belongs to a bloodline older than trees, older than the rings of Saturn we know today, and far older than the dinosaurs. The strangest part? It barely changed. While entire worlds vanished, continents shifted, and giant reptiles ruled and then disappeared, sharks simply kept swimming. How? How did a predator survive asteroid impacts, global catastrophes, mass extinctions, and hundreds of millions of years of evolution, while countless other species vanished forever? And perhaps the most unsettling question of all: what if sharks didn't need to evolve much because they had already become almost perfect? Imagine Earth over 400 million years ago. No dinosaurs, no humans, no birds singing in forests. The world looked alien. Strange armored fish dominated ancient seas. Giant insects would eventually roam the land. And life itself was still experimenting with what worked and what didn't. And somewhere within those prehistoric oceans, the first ancestors of modern sharks appeared. This means sharks were already swimming through the oceans long before Tyrannosaurus rex took its first breath. In fact, sharks are older than the dinosaurs by roughly 200 million years. To put that into perspective, if Earth's history were compressed into a single day, dinosaurs would appear late in the evening. Humans would arrive just seconds before midnight.
These sensors allow sharks to perceive electrical fields so weak that they seem almost impossible to detect. A fish buried beneath sand, completely hidden, can still be found. Its heartbeat gives it away. Think about that for a moment. A shark can essentially sense life itself. And that extraordinary ability is only the beginning. Because sharks didn't become ancient survivors through one adaptation. They became survival machines through an entire collection of evolutionary advantages. Unlike many fish, sharks have skeletons made primarily of cartilage rather than bone. At first, this sounds like a disadvantage, but it actually makes them lighter, faster, and more efficient swimmers. Imagine replacing a heavy metal bicycle frame with an ultralight racing design. That's essentially what nature did. Every movement costs less energy. Every chase becomes more efficient. And when you're trying to survive for hundreds of millions of years, efficiency matters a lot. But perhaps the most surprising secret behind shark survival isn't their speed, it's flexibility. When environments changed, sharks changed their lifestyles. Some adapted to deep oceans. Others thrived near coastlines. Some became ambush predators. Others evolved into long-distance hunters. Today, there are tiny sharks small enough to fit in your hand, and giants like the whale shark, which can grow longer than a school bus while feeding mostly on microscopic organisms. The same ancient family discovered countless ways to survive. And that adaptability became critically important during one of the darkest moments in Earth's history. About 66 million years ago, a massive asteroid slammed into Earth. The impact unleashed unimaginable destruction. Wildfires spread across continents. Tsunamis crossed oceans. Dust filled the atmosphere. Sunlight disappeared. Food chains collapsed. And the dinosaurs were pushed toward extinction. It was one of the most devastating events our planet has ever experienced. Yet sharks survived. Not all species. Many disappeared. But enough endured to rebuild their populations. Why? Because sharks weren't dependent on a single ecosystem. They occupied different depths, different regions, and different ecological roles. When one environment collapsed, others remained. It was like having countless backup plans already in place. And that strategy worked. Again, and again, and again.
Scientists estimate that sharks have survived multiple mass extinction events throughout Earth's history. Entire groups of animals vanished forever. Meanwhile, sharks continued their silent journey through time. But here's where the story becomes truly fascinating. People often assume evolution constantly pushes animals toward becoming more advanced. That's not exactly true. Evolution doesn't reward complexity, it rewards effectiveness. If something already works extremely well, there may be little reason to change it. And sharks are one of the greatest examples of that principle.
The streamlined body, the sensory systems, the hunting abilities, the energy-efficient design. Together, they created a predator so successful that nature rarely needed to reinvent it. Of course, sharks did evolve. Modern species differ from their ancient relatives. But compared to many other animals, the overall blueprint remained remarkably effective. It's as if nature found a winning formula and kept refining it rather than replacing it. Even today, sharks remain among the ocean's most efficient hunters. Not because they're the biggest, not because they're the strongest, but because they're perfectly adapted for the role they've played for millions of years. And perhaps that's the most incredible part of this story. When we look at sharks, we're not simply looking at another animal. We're looking at living history. A lineage that witnessed worlds rise and fall. A survivor that crossed extinction events that erased entire kingdoms of life. A creature carrying hundreds of millions of years of evolutionary success inside every movement. The next time you see a shark gliding through dark water, remember this. Before the dinosaurs appeared, sharks were already here. When the dinosaurs disappeared, sharks were still here. And long after countless species faded into history, they kept swimming.